Advaita Gadadara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nanda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sivasadi Bhakta Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Jaya Jaya Gurudev Gurudev Hare Krishna, welcome to our Jiva Tattva class. So today we are beginning. How many types of living entity are there? Not by the body, but by the consciousness evolution. Om Jnanatirandhasya Jnanjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Guruve Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Shapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jutapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanitam Sajivam Sadaitam Sabadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanita Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinam Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Paschata Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhesya Kripa Sindhubhayevacham Patitanam Pavunebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna. So yesterday we came to a point that question came, the living entity, the soul, in conditional state, performs karma. Karma means they want to experience the enjoyment spirit separately from God. That's what karma means. And not knowing that this produce pain and pleasure. So then question came, how many types of living entity are involved? So very nicely explained that there are 5 types of living entity. It is by the consciousness evolution, not 8,400,000 species. That's by the species, 8,400,000. But this explanation Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives that there are 5 kinds, and those whose consciousness means thinking, willing, your awareness, and feeling. So you can see where you are. If your consciousness is like you don't care anything, you just want to be isolated, like in a deep sleep, don't want to wake up. This is called covered, achadita consciousness, covered consciousness. And the example of those are trees, rocks. They also have a soul inside. But when, I don't know, I hope you don't feel like that. If you ever felt like you want to be completely hide from everybody and nobody should know, you just want to just sleep and be by yourself and nobody else. This impersonal conception is a contamination. It's not normal. Normally we are joyful with devotees, friends, dynamic, not isolated. Isolation is not a normalcy for the soul. Soul is always active. But due to the contamination, contact with the material nature, we may feel like this. So the first level of consciousness, that covered consciousness. And then above them is sankuchita. Sankuchita means shrunken, contracted. And the example given like a trees. And above that are budding. If you think of budding like an opening, about to open or blossom, the soul about to get out of the material pain and pleasure. They're called budding form. These are human beings. And human beings, there are 5 types of human being. One human being, one says they are immoral atheists. If you never met, I met some. They don't want to believe in anything and they don't care all these laws, nothing. And above them is moral atheist. Moral atheist means they want to have some law that nobody steal my wallet or nobody should steal my bank balance or art or anything. There has to be some code, there has to be some law, there has to be some moral law that nobody kidnap my children. Some moral code has to be there. So, but they don't believe, they don't want to do something to please God or serve God or curious. So they're called moral atheists. Above them, there is another group is called moral theists. They also want the law in a society where the law works. And they also want the prison that if somebody break the law should go there. At the same time, they believe that there is a purpose of life, they think. So they are above them, and above those are who are seeking and have taken shelter in God. They are called devotee. They join in the movement. There are many sorts of devotee. There's a different path also given, not just in the Krishna consciousness movement. All the religious people also promote that. But within the religion, there is all these grades are there. Then above them, the highest, those who are pure lover of God, pure devotee of God. So today, I just want you to remember this before I begin, that Krishna is ever waiting, ever willing, ever working. I want everybody to remember. Krishna is ever waiting, He is eternally. No friend, your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, children, nobody was with you life after life. And if you abuse them, they will leave you. But Krishna is the only person, he's ever waiting, he never left you. And ever willing to share his all opulence, his love with you. And he's ever working to bring you back, but not by force, by your own time. That we understand from this discussion yesterday and today, that Krishna personally resides in the heart of all of us. What he does there, he guides us to our ultimate good. From this strategy, vantage point, he observes our misadvantage in material existence and strives to bring them to an adventurous, auspicious ending. You may think like how? Let's see. So first I said three things. Krishna is ever waiting. Krishna is ever waiting. In a friendship, if one friend neglects the other for a long time, it is natural and reasonable, you can say, I was in emergency, somebody was dying. I just came back from there. We chanted and prayed and did some rituals or prayers so the soul can depart with peaceful and go back home. So first thing is Krishna is ever waiting in a friendship. So the friend neglects the other for a long time. It's natural and reasonable. What? For the neglected friend to give up the neglecting friend. It's happening every day. That's why there's a divorce, even the friendship. Oh, we are good friend. One of my son was saying that they were a good friend one time and then this person moved to another state, didn't want to contact anybody, was kind of isolated, disconnected telephone. Like this, there is always something like this. It's a normal, but it's not normal in spiritual world. It has never happened because over there everybody cares. They have affection. They love each other. So Krishna's love for us far exceed the bounds of natural and reasonable of this world. Although we have neglected him for so many lifetimes, he neglects our neglects. Remember that. Krishna also neglects. What he neglects? He neglects our neglects. That we ignored him, he also ignored that. He did not ignore us. He ignored that we ignored him. Such a loving friend, loving beloved, loving father, loving son, any relationship you have with him. And waiting patiently for us to renew our friendship with him. Second point is, Krishna is ever willing. If one friend not only neglects, but also displeases or offends the other friend, the second friend is entirely justified to be unwillingly to resume the friendship. But Krishna's friendship is so unfailing and unflinching that despite our many sins, offenses, all this bad stuff that we do, repeatedly displeasing him, Krishna remains ever willing to resume our relationship with him. And the third point that I mentioned, that Krishna being God, Krishna being God is perfect and complete. He has no work to do. Namam karmani lippanti, no me karma phale spriha. Chapter 4, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Namam karmani lippanti, no me karma phale spriha. Iti jomamo bhi janati, karma bhi na shabuddhate. If you understand this point, Krishna says, you will also be free. What Krishna is trying to say, that Krishna being God is perfect and complete. He has no work to do, has nothing to gain from his relationship with anybody or anything. Yet, due to his selfless, tireless love for us, selfless and tireless love for us. He voluntarily, constantly works to help us return to Him, thereby realize fully our potential for happiness. When we understand how much Krishna loves us and to what length He is ready to go for loving us, how can we not reciprocate? Ask that question to yourself. Krishna says, Ishvara sarva bhutanam riddesha Arjuna tishtati. Oh, Arjuna, I'm situated in the heart of every living being. I know everything what is going on in their life. They do not know me, but I know awaiting, because they can do nothing to stop me loving them. But they are trying to stop themselves loving me. This is the sad part. So we'll go back to this 5 level of evolution, consciousness evolution. First comes the covered. You may think like, how do you know that those who are covered consciousness, what they feel? How do we know? Well, our Acharya gives a very nice explanation. Prabhupada explained this, that Ahalla, Jamala Arjun, in Krishna book, you will read Jamala Arjun, they were tree body. Ahalla was a rock, big rock body. Saptatal is also palm tree, 7 palm tree. Prabhupada mentioned this in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered them. They were fully conscious, but in the tree body, rock body. And they communicate with the other trees. They have their own language. And they see that nobody has any clue about God or about anything of this creation. They're so dull-headed. They just completely like deep sleep, not even aware. So from this reason, we see this. There are living entities with the bodies of trees, creepers, grass, stone, and so on. And we have forgotten service to Krishna, and so engrossed in the material qualities of Maya, that they have no trace of their sentient nature. When Mother Ahalla was in the rock body, she was aware about the mountain and the rocks. And she saw the soul is there in every rock, but only she remembers about her incident and waiting for Lord Ram. But none of the rocks or the trees, Saptatal, Jamala Arjun, they were conscious, they saw what is going on around them with all other trees. Then there is another 5. I'm going to mention something interesting. A scientist friend, he mentioned also that there is they also believe there is a discovery of 5 evolution of consciousness. What are the 5 evolution of consciousness? It's very interesting, because they actually like Krishna consciousness, those who are very thoughtful in that way. The modern science also accept that one of the critical missing areas of knowledge in our current medical curriculum, according to that scientist, Dr. James Hall, is an understanding of the subtle energy, anatomy, known today as a human resource, the biofield, you can say, with a scientific model to explain the ancient system of healing and use concept of like a chi, prana, like my name, prana Govinda, prana, life force. They see the life force is within the body, and they analytically study the Patanjali Yoga Sutra also, the Ayurveda, now the homeopathic coming, Ayurvedic coming in Germany, in UCSD in San Diego, California University, also adapting the healing of mantra. For after the operation, the patient can hear the music and the mantra that heals them. So a lot of things they are discovering. And they say there is a 5 body of consciousness, interestingly. and introduce this allopathic and natural medicine that they are also adopting, and education to the fundamental premises of quantum physics to describe the subtle energy structure of the biofield. Actually, there's a famous Mr. Goswami, quantum physics, recognizes the human subtle anatomy has 5 energetic layers or evolves. They call this, we call in our Yoga Sutra, in second canto Bhagavatam, we also have that. Yoga Sutra that you have this physical body, Stula Sharira, that's one. We accept, they also accept. And those scientists, they see that this physical body is from a childhood, breast milk to the old man, slowly, different kind of nutrition, food helps this body to grow and changing. The soul is unchanged, soul is inside, but the body is changing from 6 changes yesterday we discussed, from birth to young boy, then grown up, then reproductive, and then dwindle, death. These 6 changes. But that stula body, stula sharir or physical body. Inside the stula sharir, there is a vital body, ghost body. We also have a ghost. Ghost is nothing but absence of the physical body. Ghost means the air. Like if you cannot breathe, you'll die. So you have another body within this physical body called built by the air. The air circulate everywhere within the physical. Then more subtle than that is mental body. Oh, I don't feel good. Oh, I feel good. I feel excited. Then we start speculating. The life air actually keeps the vital body moving, and the speculation, concoction, argument, this keeps the mental body moving. And then above that is intuitive body. Intuitive body, they live in Bhu Bhuvasa Jana Maha Tapasatta. There's a 7 planet that according to Bhagavatam, that above planet, the Maharloka, Janaloka, intuitive soul with those body lives there. Because the mental body, the demigod have more than the physical body. They have all these 5 elements, but one is more predominating. That's why they are longevity, enjoyment, everything is higher than human. And then you have an experience, ananda body, the 5th layer. So intuitive body, I give you one little example. It was very interesting. Recently, I was studying about Kalidas. Kalidas is one of the famous, well, there are a few Kalidas, but one famous, Vikramaditya's, King Vikramaditya in Indian history, very famous. And Kalidas, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur gave me one story about it. One time Kalidas was traveling. He's a scholar. He goes to different big community and try to educate people. But sometimes false pride that I am an educated man, I know so much, it can be very dangerous. So just to demonstrate what is intuitive body. Generally intuitive, we think that I don't know how I know things without knowing. You follow what is intuitive means? I don't know how I know things without knowing, without learning. So then, example given, so Kalidas was traveling and he thought himself, while he was walking, those days there was no car. I'm talking about hundreds of years back. So he would walk for hundreds of miles. At one point he was very thirsty and he wanted to drink some water. So then he saw a little far a lady fetching water from a well. And Kalidas is thinking, I am a famous scholar from India and I feel very thirsty and I should drink some water. I don't want to consider whether this lady is a Muslim or Hindu. The water is water, and as long she is clean and giving the clean water, I'll drink. So he went there. He thought he's very proud that I'm. So while he's drinking the water, say, "Mother, give me some water." So she gave the water and he's drinking. So she asked a question. So she, who are you? A simple question. Who are you? So Kalidas thought, she's a village lady, innocent girl. What she will understand about me? I am such a big scholar. I'm well known amongst the intelligent men. What she will understand? So she said, "Oh, mother, I'm a traveler." So then this lady, she said, "Oh, I knew only two persons who are known as a traveler in this universe. One is sun and the moon." And it's true. Everybody just obey them. Nobody else is traveler. Only sun is moving and moon is moving. And we reconcile the year, month, everything. And Kalidas was surprised. Oh my God, she's very thoughtful. I could not imagine. I thought she was an innocent village girl. So then she said, "No, I mean, who are you?" Then what he want to say, didn't know. Oh, I'm a simple guy. I just tolerate. He didn't want to say I'm a big scholar because he's proud of that. She said he thought she will not understand how big I am. He said, "Oh, I'm just a tolerant guy. I tolerate whatever people think who I am." Then this lady replied, "Oh, I thought there is only two entity, two being are that well known as a tolerant person." And he was like surprised. He said, "The earth, people abuse the earth, they dig the well, all these things, gold, everything. She never opposed. People do all kinds of dirty things on the earth, she tolerates. And the trees, people cut the branches of the tree, they will eat the fruits, they will do everything to the tree, but tree will never object because it tolerates." Kalidas was so shocked. Then she said, "Who are you? You're not answering." Kalidas was so surprised. She's thinking, "Wow, I'm a fool. I would have falsely, claimed I'm a fool." Then the lady said, "Oh, I know there's two fools in this world who glorify himself, those who glorify himself, and those who get paid to glorify somebody else." Like politicians, I don't want to say that. Politicians are like this, they pay people to glorify them. So then Kalidas is like, "I can't believe that. I don't even know who I am. She's asking this question again and again." And he felt such embarrassed. These are called intuitive. This type of people are there in this world. They think they know. Literally, when we go out and preaching, everybody thinks they know. But do they really? No, because they are in that intuitive state. The first one was covered, the consciousness covered. The second one is contracted. Contracted means like a snake, like a beast, birds, fish, aquatic, mosquitoes, all these animal creatures. The consciousness of those living entities apparently to some degree, unlike the living entity in the previous group like a rock and the tree, whose consciousness is completely covered. For an example, living entity perform like eating, sleeping, mating, defending, quarreling with others. You'll see the dog, they bark and they want their territory. Just like you come for immigration or land in a new country, they want to see you have a visa or not, or go back. It's the same concept. The dog barks. The monkeys, they're also mischievous. They have some kind of even gratefulness. Some animal, they're like a dog. They're actually very grateful to their master. It's not something surprising. Animal has that. The cats, they're very affectionate. They reward to their master. They want to reciprocate in that. And where is this idea coming from? Like King Bharat, he was a Mahabhagavat, but he fell due to his attachment to the deer, and in the deer body he experienced with all the deers and other animals, what they think, what they talk. And they talk. And King Nriga, he was also fully aware that he was a king, he's a human being, he was doing sacrifice, but now he took the lizard body and he noticed what the other lizard thinks about life. Nothing. They do not think. They're only interested eating, sleeping, mating, defending. And if we do only these four things, we are none better than those animals. Above them is Mukulita consciousness, or you would say conditioned living being with human bodies fall into that categories. You can say slightly budding consciousness. Those with developed consciousness means there are, as I mentioned, there are 5 types. Immoral atheist, above them is moral atheist, above them is moral theist, above them is devotee, above them is pure devotee. So like this, there are 5 layers of consciousness, and just to explain this, that so far we discussed the living entity, who they are, where they originally coming from, we discussed that. Then yesterday and last week we touched that how they became conditioned. And from now, I'm going to start how the living entity going to be free from all pain and material misery, material suffering, material happiness. And what are the procedure and what are the level of different philosophy misguide or guide us. Do we have to know everything? Yes, we do. Because we are constantly doing selection and elimination and selection. Whether we hear or not, we are doing it. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, Baddha Mukta, Falgu Jukta, Nahiko Bhabiyo Ekakar Sab. Do not ever think these are all one. What will bind you? What will liberate you? You must pay attention. You must pay attention, otherwise you're going to suffer. And this is very important to understand. So now today's subject matter beginning, how living entity become free from the clutches of Maya. Maya means you do not see that how everything is connected with Krishna. Because you do not see everything connected with Krishna, anything you see or anyone you see reciprocate is all illusion. All the activity is illusion, means it will create you at certain point misery and attachment to this world. You can never get out of until you revive that vision of connection. See, we discussed last month that bhakti does not sustain, devotion, Krishna consciousness does not sustain on tribulation or mental emotion. Bhakti sustain on conviction, determination. But that conviction is not enough. Conviction in connection. Because you get power, this conviction and determination comes from the connection. The connection with Krishna. Krishna is eternally our well-wisher. And that's why in the beginning I mentioned that if you can remember these 3 things whole life, that Krishna is ever waiting, one, ever willing, and ever working. You must understand these three things. Very simple. How Krishna is ever waiting in your heart. He never opposes. He's constantly waiting for you to turn towards him. And he's ever willing to revive that love for you. For an example, if I stay with some friend and say after few months, I see that friend working very hard and he put all his money in a hiding place. And I saw that. And one day I take all his money and run away. How is my friendship will be with him? What a chance. How will be my friendship with him? When he finds out that I stole all his income for a few years, whatever he earned, I stole it and ran away. Down in the gutter. This is true. Materially we think, but Krishna is not like this. We are ignoring. Krishna is ignoring our ignorance. He's not ignoring us. He's ignoring our ignoring him. He's love. He's waiting. He's happy the moment we turn to him. And he's ever willing. Means whether you hated him, you didn't believe him, whatever it is, he never going to. Like if I come back to that friend, oh, I'm sorry, I stole all your money one time, but can you be again friend? What do you think? Will that friend immediately say, oh, yeah, sure? No. Thank you, Gorachan. I doubt too. Whether, immediately you'll say, yeah, we'll become again normal. No, I have to prove it. How long? Well, I don't know. Hey, don't demand. You stole. Now don't demand. When time he feels comfortable. What about after 6 months? I say, hey, you know what? I stole, but I'm going to work and pay you $10 a month, even though I stole $50,000. $10 a month. I don't know whether it will ever pay off. But anyway, I'm trying. And after 6 months, I say, I paid you 6 months. Can we become normal friend? Can we demand like this? You think very deeply how Krishna is the most kind, affectionate, beloved, who overlook everything that we ever do. So to understand this, how we are going to be free from Maya, it is very important. There's a famous verse quoted in Mundaka Upanishad. It's a very sweet verse. Jada Brahman Hari Rasa Galada Vaishnava Janam Kadachita Sampashat Tad Anugamane Sadruchi Juta Kada Krishna Vritta Tejati Sanakir Maikadasam Sarupam Vibrano Bimalarasa Bhogam Sakurute. We are traveling. Srila Prabhupada explained very nicely that we are traveling from heaven to hell through so many species, life after life, in the material world. How? Why? Because of our desire. And if while traveling, Brahmanda Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jik, similar, if by traveling all, we come in contact with a devotee, not absorbed in this flowery language of the Veda to go to heaven or material enjoyment. Instead, we are absorbed in the flowing rasa to Krishna consciousness, Hari Bhakti. Taste will arise in the heart, for sure, for following this Vaishnava way of life. First, our happiness coming from austerity. Austerity of the mind. To get up in the morning, chant, this sadhana, this austerity will produce satisfaction in the mind. It's not a sense enjoyment, satisfaction in the mind. And as the heart purifies, we will be connected immediately with Krishna and will draw that happiness. So, Shastra explains this. Prabhupada quote this verse, Samane Bhikshe Purusho Nimagna. Somehow that if we can have darshan of the Lord, darshan means who is seeing? Is it the eye see the object? The object dictates what the object is, or I perceive through the pupil, capture a photo, send it through the retina to the brain cell, and the dictation in the brain cell is saying, yeah, this is Krishna's deity. But the mind is saying it's marble. He's not talking, he's standing there. So who is seeing it? The soul has to see. Soul sees by the ear of what we hear from the lips of a pure devotee. If we can hold that and we try to see through that, then it's possible you can see God. Then all your problem is over. Then question comes that living entity sees the worshipable Lord, he becomes free forever from all anxiety, directly perceive his magnificence. Does this imply liberation? This is a very crucial point. Please, I'll try to, what I understood from Prabhupada's books and Bhaktivinoda Thakur's writings, I'll try to explain. Liberation means release from clutches of Maya. Liberation means release from clutches of Maya. Of course, in Shastra also says, Attante Dukkha Nibritti, means cessation of material suffering is also liberation. Only those who have association of saintly people, Mahat Sangha Bina Kono Karme Bhakti Noy, Krishna Bhakti Dure Raho, Sangsara Nahe Khoy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quoted this verse that without the association of devotee, there is no question of liberation. Because the real subject of research is the glorious position that one receives after liberation. I'm going to repeat this. Try to, please remember this. You are more advanced than me, those who are listening, or you are new, doesn't matter. Please remember this. It is not the liberation is the fascinating. It is the real subject of research, the glorious position after you receive liberation. That's the point where Krishna consciousness take one angle, one step, and goes in an elevator, and the other concept of religion or philosophy that exists in this world stay there or go, downward, I could say. Prabhupada quote this verse, Muktir hitta annatha rupam sarupena avastiti. Muktir hitta annatha rupam. This is from Bhagavatam 2.10.6, 2.10.6. The living entity in his original constitutional form is a pure servant of Krishna. When he falls down into the darkness of nations, he has to accept gross and subtle material body, which we explained yesterday and day before. So liberation means abandon these extraneous forms of completely and to be situated in one's original spiritual swarup. Now question comes. What we are trying to abandon this form and how? And what is the outcome? What else is left after we release or relieve from this two covering? Evam eveso samprasad asmat sarira samauttaya parama jyoti rupena sampanna. You can look at in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text 7. In the middle, Prabhupada write this sloka. Very important sloka Prabhupada put there. That soul, when dissolve the physical and the subtle, that time he has the soul body. And at that time, he can decide where in the spiritual world he can go. Now, I'm going to stop there and I am going to ask a very fundamental question. Do you know after liberation what happened to us? I can give you the symptom, the liberation symptom, that you have a 8 symptom when you are liberated, period. When you're liberated, you have a 8 symptom. But so you can check within yourself whether you're liberated or not. But question is, whether you are liberated or not, more than that, what do you have in spiritual asset that is to be found out? That is most important. And most of the people beside us do not have any access or clue about it. They don't. And this is the sad part. So generally, when we think of liberation, people has a different idea about what is liberation. So this is, you can read in Bhagavatam. Prabhupada gives this the 8 symptom, 5 types of knowledge and 8 symptom that you're going to see within yourself. And if you feel that you have this 8 symptom, then you are liberated instantly. Or you can say proportion to your liberation, you can check by that. And this should be in the 5th canto. Let me look at the book one second. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Okay, this is in Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 4th chapter, text 5. Srila Prabhupada gives details that when you are liberated, the soul, when you are at a soul, we say we are soul, we are not this body. But see how much actually you have realized the soul. These are the 8 symptoms. If you have these 8 symptoms and you act on it, you are liberated instantly. 5.4.5, Srila Viraragavacharya states that in this Chandogya Upanishad, there are 8 symptoms of the Jivan Mukta, a person who is already liberated within the body. You are in this body. The first thing is, see if you don't have any desire for 4 sinful activities. No illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication, no meat eating. If you don't have these 4, then partially you are liberated. Second, Vijara, that you are not afraid of the old age, you're not afraid of death. You see yourself as a soul. You have a realization of indestructibility of spiritual reality. When you have that, then you are spirit soul. Then third is Bimritu. We should check this every day, see how much you have. Bimritu means that you do not see yourself by death going downward instead of you going upward towards Krishna conscious full-fledged, instead of taking other body. So you are not afraid of the death in that sense. Fourth is Bishoko. You're not lamenting, oh, I wish I would have this, oh, I wish I would have this, like this goes on and on. No, when you don't have that kind of a hankering, then you are liberated. This is one of the signs. The next one is Apipasa. You're not desiring any other, but Prabhupada writes there that you always have a desire to chant and do some service. If you have that, that means you are liberated. 7 is Sattakama. Sattakama means that when you desire something spiritual and it actually gets on your way, it gives the result. And you see, it's actually, I don't mean to be proud, but we see that, what we sometimes pray that this way and it's happening. Then Satta Sankalpa, that you get your perfection, you attain perfection in whatever you desire in spiritual estimation. So this 8 symptom proves that whether you are liberated or not liberated. Now I'm going to tell you that what do you have as a soul or servant of Krishna? You can remember this. That's 11 things we have eternally in spiritual body. We have spiritual body within this body. We are not going to get spiritual body. We have spiritual body. It will just take the form like a seed. Has a banyan tree inside, but it's not visible. But when it plants and the proper similar earth, air, water comes, and then the body manifests. Similarly, in spiritual atmosphere, spiritual body will manifest. You have these 11 things. First is you have a relationship, eternal relationship. Second, you have a particular age in that relationship. You have a particular name. You have a particular personal form, beauty. You belong to a particular group. You belong to have a particular dress. Like when Gajendra, in Bhagavatam we see, the moment the crocodile got killed, and Gajendra also left his elephant body, immediately he has a beautiful crown, jewelry, necklace, bracelet. Who made this? There was no goldsmith. He has a perfect dhoti and uttariya kurta like this. Everything, whole thing manifested. It is all along with him. It was always there, but it was not visible. Then you have a specific instruction, agya. Basha means residence. You have a permanent residence in spiritual abode. There is a permanent resident for every soul. It's so nice. Then you have an exclusive service to please the Lord, that no other has this service. Then Parakasta Shasha, highest summit of emotion, which is the aspirant, very life breath. And the last one is that you have a sentiment to be servant or maid servant of Krishna or Srimati Radharani. That is there. These 11 things is eternally with you. You just think about it. Now, before I go further, I want to just take a little break for chanting 10 minutes. And Gopal Radhe Prabhu, I sent something and he's going to read to this. And can you also show that yesterday's picture, Prabhu, if possible? Gopal Radhe Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. Just
if possible, you can show that and you can read it and then we can chant for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Please go. Namo Vishnu Padaya Vishnu Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachadini. Is he here? Yeah? You can tell him to lock the door. And
This one, Prabhuji?
the one I just sent you today?
Oh, you wanted to show the picture or you?
Yeah, this picture. Very good. This picture, while you're putting the other one, I'm going to just say it.
Yes.
I really want everybody to understand this concept. That deep down, as Prabhupada said, we are born with this Mayavad conception. It's not something like, oh, we are now devotee initiated, all problem is disappear. No, all problem is not disappear. It is within us. It is waiting for us to consciously accept and take it. So I'm going to explain this, but after the japa, we'll just have a 10-minute chanting. You have a japa mala or just only chanting? Rasanandi Radha, Mother,
And somebody would like to read this?
ask somebody, Mother Mathura Chandrika or Mother Sadhade Prabhu, either one, somebody.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I can read.
Yes, Mother, go ahead.
There are those that think that Harinam, Krishna Nam, and Shivanam are one and the same. It's disappearing, Prabhu. There are these, it keep disappearing. There are those that think that Harinam, Krishna Nam, and Shivanam are the same, like the followers of the Ramakrishna mission or the Shankara school. They teach that, but an idea originates in the plane of misunderstanding. Shuddha Nam, the pure name, must have its original form in Nirguna Bhumika, for beyond the misconception of Maya. The influence of Maya reaches up to Viraja. Then there is Brahmaloka, then Pravyoma. The real name
Parabhoma.
Huh?
Parabhoma.
Paravyoma. The real name must have its origin of Paravyoma, and Krishna Nam originates in Goloka, the most original plane of the whole existence. To be really Krishna Nam, it must have its origin in the highest plane of Vrindavan. Nama Akara, the mere physical sound, is not the name proper. The real name is necessary not only for us to get out of this world of Maya or misunderstanding, but for the attainment of the service of Krishna in Vrindavan. The name that has its origin in the Vrindavan plain, only that can take us there. Otherwise, if the spirit in the name, the sound is of any other type, it may take us to that mundane place only. Even the followers of the impersonal Shankara school have faith that the name is not confined within the jurisdiction of physical sound. They considered it to be within the mental plane, within the plane of Sattva Guna. Unfortunately, they think that the holy name is the product of Maya or misconception. And so they conclude that the names of Hari, Krishna, Kali, and Shiva are all one and the same. The Ramakrishna mission and the Shankara school both preach in that way, but that conception also has its origin in the plane of misunderstanding.
Very good.
That's it.
Thank you. So we are going to chant 10 minutes. Everybody understand, when you're thinking of chanting, this chanting is connected to the highest realm, Krishna Loka. When we say Hare Krishna, means coming from Golok Vrindavan, not some English word or Sanskrit word, nothing of this world product. We have to have that mind that we are serving the Lord of Golok Vrindavan, coming down out of his mercy, when we have a service attitude. So let's start. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Simate Bhakti Vedanta Saminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Paschat Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, 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 Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare You have 1 minute. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Manitanda Shanta Dagada Svashadi Guratam Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Nam Prabhu ki jai, Mahamantra ki jai, Tulsi Maharani ki jai. So I'm going to refresh what we are understanding is that when by whatever process you take, you dissolve the physical body, then inside the physical body you have a vital body, ghost body. Ghost, everybody has a ghost body. Those who don't have a physical, they're called ghost, but ghost also we have. Then more subtle than that is mental body, that we feel, emotional connection, speculation, dry argument, concoction. These are the function of the mind, mental body. Then more fine is intuitive, intellectual body. Then we discuss above that is Ananda Kosha. These are also layer of sheets, like sheets. When all these things drops, then what happened? Who are you? Where are you at that time? When physical body, vital, all this body drops, and the mental body drops, then what happened? That's where a very fine point. Today I want to establish next 45 minutes that try to focus on that more in life, day to day. And majority devotee do not do that. I investigated. I even spoke to some sannyasis that this is important. That you have these 11 things, as I mentioned, it belongs to the soul. That you have an eternal relationship, you have an eternal age there. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he had a 7-year-old girl. Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes that this is important. Generally, you may say, well, Prabhupada did not give us so much about this information because it was emergency, but Prabhupada put it in his book. You read on Chaitanya Charitamrita, even on the first canto, 11th chapter, text 34, you read in the purport how Prabhupada elaborately explains that how important that we should think seriously that what happened at the moment of death, at the moment of dissolving this body. Bhagavatam 3.2.6, that Prabhupada writes that you can be in the material body here, still you can be in the spiritual world and serve there. So these 11 things, I'm going to mention one more time. Why? Because I'm going to give you other idea what bothering us, the contamination of Buddhism, impersonalism. It is not outside, it is within us. Prabhupada says in 4.10, Bhagavad Gita, Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha, in that verse, in the purport, that we are born with these 3 attachments. Negligence of spiritual life. I don't know if you ever met somebody is born and saying, where is Krishna? I'm missing him. No. Very rare. I never even heard. Only Narottam Das Thakur had some symptom like that. Then second is spiritual identity. Fear of spiritual identity is the Mayavad. That's why when Prabhupada was very heavily preaching, tough way in Chicago, Yasur Bharati Maharaj said he was there and he thought it was some group in India. So he told Prabhupada, oh, is there some group in India, impersonalists, that you are very upset? Prabhupada said, no, I'm talking about you. He said, me? He said, yes. So we are born with this. We have to be very careful. What we should focus, that even in the battlefield of Kurukshetra is the one evidence that Barbaric, who was witnessing, Barbaric is a child of Bhima generation. Bhima married a Hirimba, that Rakshasi, her descendant, that he was so powerful that Lord Krishna severed his head, and he witnessed from up on the chariot that who killed, when the question asked who killed the 640 million people, and he said he saw nothing, nobody except the Sudarshan Chakra. The Sudarshan Chakra was killing, but when Sudarshan Chakra kills, what happened? Your subtle body dissolved. Subtle body dissolved. The spiritual body at that time manifest who you really are. But what are you going to do? That is the question at that time. If you remember that we have all these things, Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, and Prabhupada establishing this. Prabhupada also made another point in the purport that when subtle body dissolved, those soul who did not, at that time actually you can see Krishna as he is. They saw him, but some of the soul did not appreciate Krishna's beauty, Krishna's kindness, quality. They merged. Those who appreciated, they went to Vaikuntha. Those who glorified and fell in love with Krishna, they go to Golok Vrindavan. So it is not Krishna deciding where we are going to go. It is our connection deciding. We have a conscious choice. We should be fully aware what happened to our life. When we chant, what to think. This is very important. So this 11 thing, as I mentioned, you should, I would say, remember this. Now, what are the contamination? Yesterday we discussed about the 6 darshan. Today I'm going to discuss about this other contamination that already within us. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is both Radha and Krishna combined. He is Krishna in the mood of Srimati Radharani, searching for who? For himself. Krishna in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu searching for himself. He is both positive and the negative aspect of the absolute. So absolute is combined by the negative and positive, and Srimati Radharani and Krishna, they're searching for each other too. And here we see the similar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, but in the mood of Radharani is searching for himself. So what got to do with the Sankara philosophy? Well, I tell you what Sankara philosophy does, because I did some research through our acharyas, through Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur lot. He wrote a whole book about it. And Prabhupada is the one acharya, I would say this is just my opinion, 30% of his lecture about against Mayavad conception. Whenever I hear his lecture, it's like cutting down all this misconception. The Sankara philosophy or Mayavad philosophy, that impersonalists claim that when positive and negative are combined, the result is a kind of equilibrium. And Prabhupada, with his dialogue with Saint Francis, a priest, Catholic priest in Paris, in Prabhupada's dialogue, conversation, he said ultimate goal is peace. Peace, the conception of peace is like, everything is like a nice fountain, white cloth, garden, nobody's moving, everything is peaceful. Some idea is there, they have. But Sankara, no. They have an equilibrium, means nothing moves. Do I exist? It's not important. You don't move. You're just stuck eternally. You want to be like this. This is very important because we also have this. We don't say it. Sometimes you ask yourself, I just want to be by myself, just leave me alone in my own room, like go to sleep. I want to just sleep and sleep. You have that conception. It's there. But according to Vaishnava philosophy, the combination is dynamic, not equilibrium. His nature becomes that of searching for himself. Mahaprabhu is searching for who? Krishna. Who is Krishna? It's him, himself. So Mahaprabhu is known as Anandam, Nartanam, Kirtanam. When somebody is dynamic, very happy, joyful always, he is in a dancing posture. That's why you'll see Mahaprabhu crying, dancing. And Kirtanam, glorifying Krishna. Kirtan does not mean only singing, glorifying. Whether you glorify through your speaking or through a singing form. But glorification is to there. It's not a melody we are looking for. It is a glory, that how great Krishna is, how kind Krishna is. So his nature, that of searching for himself, searching for his own positive self, in the mood of negative. In that search, positive is thus distributed to the public. This is the essence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching. The intimate associate of Lord have revealed such conception, and the wish shall be to conceive it according to intensity and degree of our faith. Prabhupada said, according to intensity and purity, how much you advance. These two things is the barometer. So this is very important. As you are reading that I sent to Gopal Radhe Prabhu, that those who are thinking that sometime, even within us, sometimes we feel like that, yeah, chanting Hare Krishna, it's a like a, what did I get? Like some word, some mantra. But I don't feel anything. You even have a doubt, is the mantra is alive or dead? These are coming from this material contact. This is not pure name. The influence of Maya reaches up to Viraja. We can have, every house should have this map of material world to spiritual world. I have 3 maps in my room, because in case if I forget. So what we are talking about, that everything is true only by having connection with the absolute. This is important. Everything is there in the absolute. Everything is where? In the absolute. So the finite, as I mentioned before, if the outsider things, infinity means cannot reveal to the finite. And Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur says that no, if the infinite cannot reveal to the finite, then he is not infinite. You follow? If the finite has a capability to capture the infinite, then it is not infinite. That is their philosophy. It's a wrong conception, because they do not see the compassionate nature of the Lord. So the foundation of our argument is as follows. What is it? The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained, while Shankaracharya has denied the existence of the perverted reflection, we cannot dismiss it. If it does not exist, then why Shankara has come to propagate the Vedanta? This is not that. One thing may appear to be same thing else. An illusion is not, it appears to be, but it is non-existence. In that way, it is real. It has its own existence. Within the real world, which is created by the help of Lord's internal energy, Swarup Shakti, this world of misconception has no place. But in relative way, the conditioned world, this world, has an indirect relationship with the unconditional world. So Maya is existing? In that sense, yes, it is true. But it is false in that it cannot give you the desired result that you're searching after. In that sense, it is false. This is very important. I remember I went when my mother passed away to do her funeral. I went to India and to Goya, Benaras. Generally, people goes there to Pindadan, means relieve by worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord Vishnu, and offered food you offer to the departed soul, and they take the form of some animal, eat this, and then they depart. But we stayed in Bharat Sevashram Sangha. And I remember there was a one sannyasi, and they do the rituals. They worship Pranavananda with a sword. Sword, knife, all kinds of they worship. They are protector of Bharat Mata, some idea. So my oldest brother introduced Sannyasi Maharaj. Oh, he's from ISKCON Hare Krishna movement. So then that Sannyasi said, why don't you join with us? And I still remember the conversation. And I was a little bit, those days, I was just started studying the philosophy. So when he said this, then we kind of like offered the same thing, that, oh, I only offered my heart and the head, soul to the teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Similar. And I remember he said, oh, no, we also accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Try to understand this. He says, he also accepts Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But what category he is, look at it. He said, first you must learn indifference to this world pleasure. You have to be indifference means you are not activating or you're not affected by the sense enjoyment, opposite sex or any enjoyment. Your indifference means it does not, like a statue, like a wood, no feeling or something. So then he says, after you experience that, then you will learn what Lord Buddha has preached. This is their understanding. What is Buddha preach? Everybody understand? Buddha preaching, actually there is no existence of you as a soul at all. They are not denying your eternal existence, but it's such a interesting way they put it, that after your subtle body, which is a combination of many things, we say also mind, false ego, false in material intelligence, all this whole thing has to slowly dissolve. When everything is dissolved, what happened to the soul, I mentioned this before, I hope you remember. They literally believe that you are there, but there is no sign you can be proven that you are there. And they like that position. Now, do we accept that? Yes. We have an experience of deep sleep. When we went to deep sleep, we don't remember when we came out. How was your sleep? Oh, very good. How do you know? Do you remember what you did during deep sleep? No. That kind of existence they think is the highest. No pain, no experience. This is another form of Maya. That part they do not know. So if we have that kind of faith, well, I don't know what will happen. Like one Gurukuli, I won't say the name, he's a very nice boy. He said, Prabhu, when I die, is it possible I can make it like when I'm in deep sleep, I'm dead. So I don't have to know like what happened to me, where I'm going. This is another concept of ignorance. Why you should be a fear of death? I don't like sleep, and I can relate now why Prabhupada didn't like sleep. Because sleep put you in darkness, ignorance. But you have to maintain the body to serve Krishna, so then it's okay, you accept it. So this is very important to understand that they think after this, then you will understand the Vedanta of Shankara. What Shankaracharya says, no. When the subtle body dissolves, you still exist. Now, what is that you exist? They call Brahman. What is that? Means you do not have your own individuality. There is no such thing called Gopal Radhe Prabhu by himself or Pran Govinda Das by himself. Everything become one. And nobody knows, nobody even think who is who, because there is no individuality. This is their another conception. But individuality is eternally within us. Krishna made it that way, and it will stay there. And if you don't understand, sometimes you will have this doubt come that maybe, after death, I don't know what happened. After liberation, how I'll remember. This is sign of another ignorance that we don't pursue when we are chanting. The chanting has to connect to Golok Vrindavan. It has to pass through this Mahakalapuram, where the false ego will claim so many nonsense. Then you have to pass the Viraja, the Jogo Siddhi, that I can cheat the system. I will become very advanced devotee in few days without humility. It is not possible. That's another cheating. Then you have to pass Brahma Jyoti. It's not like you will be in Golok Vrindavan the moment you left here. No, you have to pass those. Chaitanya Chaitamrita very nicely, elaborately explains this. It is not possible without going this. So I mentioned to him, I said, Maharaj, this is not so. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not say us, we should do this, go to Buddhism, then Sankara, then come to. Rather, he said, wherever one is, one should get the association of genuine, sincere, serious Vaishnava. Why? Because just by hearing from them, by understanding their realization, it will affect us and we can capture the connection with Krishna. And this is Mahaprabhu's idea. This all route that you are explaining, it is not recommended. And he said, okay, I don't have any other opinion. He stopped there. So try to understand, this idea of Buddhism and Shankara philosophy is in every human's heart, mind right now. What is it? That they want to discover a place where one can live without labor. Some devotee also ask, they think inside, they may not tell, I want to go to a place, spiritual world. What is spiritual world? Oh, I don't have to work. That's what spiritual world you think. You are not in the spiritual world. You are on the way going to get stuck where Buddhism thinks. I'm not saying that there is a labor in spiritual world. Yeah, but that's not our attraction should be. Then some people has a bad relationship. They think like, I want to go to a place where good relationship or no relationship. That is also within proximity of Mahatattva. You're not even entering into spiritual. So ask yourself, we should do away with this mania. We all live at all. Why should we live at all? This is the question. So Buddhists advocate nirvana and cessation of existence, where Shankara says, of course, there is a life, not cessation of life. Because Buddhism thinks that if you, so long you are alive, you have to feed the body, you have to take care of the body. But that's not soul existence. We should not compare the material trouble with the spiritual ecstasy. It is not the same way. Should not be thought that way. Because why? Because there is a life. This life is not desirable, maybe. You know, we are always suffering from injury in material world. And there is a force which is always, you say, diminishing us. Ultimately, we die in the material sense. We are challenged by slow death, slow poison. It is true that life in the world of mortality is undesirable by almost everybody, Then what is the solution? So if we really think again, the Sankara philosophy says endeavor to maintain one's individual self is undesirable. When you become one, all your problem will be gone. Oh, really? Like, I'll be like, kind of like a forget, no more pain, no more pleasure. This conception is not taking you into the spiritual world. It's going outside the boundary wall of Maya. That's all. Boundary wall. You are still connected. There is no possibility of maintaining individuality, they say. At that same time, enjoying real peace, eternal peace. So we shall give up the charm of this individual life, of this world. This is they are propagating. So at the bottom of this two conception, because it is always there within us. I'm not just saying that we should remember, it is, you already know you have within, you just didn't think that way. Examine your heart. Jnana Vairagya, we want knowledge, I want to learn so many sloka, I want to know everything. I want to be like Pran Govinda Das or better or somebody like Chaitanya Char, somebody, I want to learn. This idea is there. And then also we want to like, oh, I don't want to have any attachment to this world. I want to be like a relief, aloof from all the sense enjoyment. These are also Buddhism idea. This is not spiritual Krishna consciousness. Come on, ask yourself within you. Amongst you, so many friends, they think sometime, I want to be genius scholar like that devotee. This is not Krishna consciousness. Or I want to be like sannyasi, like, oh, I'm like free from everything. This is not Krishna consciousness. And then Shankara, this is Buddhism. And then Shankara gives, oh, I want to be within myself. I want to have a content all the time, happy within, that I don't even know anything else. What does that mean? In a deep sleep, you feel good. You have no idea whether you are experiencing. Which experiencing if you don't remember? You follow? This is another misconception. This is deep down in our heart. That's why I'm hammering it. I hope everybody gets it. I'm not talking about somebody else. I'm talking about us. That these two are biggest obstacle. We need to pass through those. You must not be captivated by that. It is not that at all costs of our own individual prospect, you are to purchase Naishkarma, the laborless life, laborless life. Actually, a lot of people think journalist, oh, I'm tired of this world. And I want to get out of this world. But that's not Krishna consciousness. It's like a little edge, border area of Mayavadi or impersonalist and Krishna consciousness, border area. What we need to do, we need to develop a genuine sincerity, genuine humility, and recognize our relationship. And Bhagavatam, what Bhagavatam is giving, that we are giving painless labor. That is the labor of love. Labor of love. That is Bhagavatam is promoting. So I'll go back to what we discussed. These two, the Sankara and Buddhist, these things are invaded everybody. We have to be very careful. Question come, what are the symptoms? Those who are liberated. And if you all remember, what did I say? Prabhupada says in Bhagavatam 5.4.5, the 8th symptom. And you check yourself again. I'm mentioning again. If you have those 8 symptoms, then you are liberated. And if you don't, you are still conditioned. First symptom, he has no relationship with sinful tendency. You know sinful tendency? Illegal sex, meat eating, gambling, intoxication. I know in the morning, if I don't have a tea, we're taking, we are even strict, but we know herbal tea. Without tea, I cannot function in the morning. Somebody told me that. I said, this is also will be obstacle in your liberation position. You cannot be even liberated. Nothing can stop us. Nothing should stop us to perform bhakti. I'm going to chant, I'm going to chant. Not that I have to drink some tea or do this, then I can. Okay, in the beginning, if you are this, then knowing that this is not a good idea to do chanting, I have to have all this. But I cannot do it, okay, I'll do it, but eventually I want to cross this. Do not think you are bound by this. The soul is actually free from all the moment he comes in contact with advanced other soul. The easiest way to get out of it, associate with those advanced soul. You can get contagious of their quality and you can easily cross those addictive, sinful nature. If I could just cheat in my business or profession, make extra money. This is another illegal activities. This thing, sinful nature. We have to recognize and eventually we'll have to get out of it. Otherwise, liberation symptom is not there. Second symptom is, I'm telling you practically, he's free from old age, being eternally youthful. Prabhupada did not eat for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. He's lying down, his bone and skin is like touching, it's like hardly, but he's full speed speaking. Jayadatta Maharaj was there, Bhakti Charu Maharaj was there. I always talked with Bhakti Charu Maharaj about this many times. But Prabhupada saw this devotee came from Canada. And Prabhupada is asking, did you get a room to sleep? Did you eat prasadam? And the devotee cry every time he thinks about it. Say, Prabhupada, your condition is such a horrible materially estimation, but you are inquiring about our well-being. We are young, we are fine. Prabhupada said, I'm fine. Prabhupada said, this old body, it will drop. He did not complain about him. When you perform devotional service, no complaint. Do you feel genuinely? Then internally you have an attachment to service. Bodily sickness, mental disturbance should not stop our spiritual journey. If I cannot do physical service, I can do mental service. Through mind, I can serve. But service has to continue. Prabhupada got stuck 3 days in Bombay. No flight. Flight was cancelled. So then he says, oh, I'm experiencing Brahmananda, the pleasure of Brahman. He said, but I don't like it. I like Sevananda. I like this. That how he is analytically checking. So more we understand this, where I am. I'm talking about each of our individual life in spiritual path, where you are. If you have some difficulty, acknowledge it. If you cannot acknowledge it, the acknowledgement should give us some repentance. If no repentance, the correction is never born. To correct myself, it will never take birth. It will just go on. So acknowledgement is required first. Fasting actually happened before acknowledgement, you deny. No, I'm not that bad. I don't want to. If there is a problem within me, I should examine. It's nothing wrong. And this is necessary. So see, if you have eight symptom, you have to focus on 11 things you have spiritually, but materially also check that you are above these 8 symptoms. Then you are liberated. You can be in New Orleans or Alachua or anywhere in the universe, doesn't matter. You can be liberated. At that time, your connection with Krishna is internal. Number 3, Brimittu. Then you never see like Prabhupada or anybody is liberated condition. A lot of senior devotee in ISKCON act like this, you can see. They prepare in such a way that it does not take any more material bodies which are destined to die anyway. They're not like, what to do? I should go to a place where I can live better, longer life. No, they're not interested in that. They just go on serving. They're not looking for bodily comfort. The body has to be that the death will come. No, this has to be that spirit. Then Bisoka, they do not hanker for, nobody gave me water today, nobody gave me any tamar of any, or they never hanker for any of this. I'm talking about the genuine sincere. In ISKCON, we have many sincere, serious devotees. And then 5th is Bijigatsu. Bijigatsu means he has no desire for sense enjoyment. Not looking for, those couple came, did they give me donation? They didn't leave any donation this time. Why they didn't give? I'm not feeling good. They don't have this kind of feeling. They always wishes good for them. Number 5, that's number 5, Jigatsu. Number 6, Apipasa. Apipasa means he has no desire other than service. Means he is not looking for, can you have a better air-conditioned house? No, as a family man, maybe you have this desire, that's fine. But knowing that you're not liberated yet. Just acknowledge. Don't feel bad. It is necessary to acknowledge where you are. Number 7, he is endowed with the desire which are favorable to Krishna's service. He said, I like that devotee association. With that devotee, I always feel Krishna's connection closer. That is good. That is good. That is called Sattakama. And Satta Sankalpa means when they desire seriously in spiritual some vow, they actually do it. They achieve it. I see that. It's happening. So if you have these 8 symptoms, then you are liberated. Then these 11 things that I mentioned that eternally with you, it will be revealed slowly, slowly after that 8 symptoms. We have 15 minutes. I'm going to discuss a little more. I could not finish it, but we'll continue next week, but I'll discuss a little more. The good fortune of the living entity who is wandering aimlessly in the material world arises when he meets a Rashik Vaishnava who relishes the nectar of Hari. One might raise the objection that one could eventually attain the Hari Bhakti by performing pious activities such as Ashtanga Yoga, cultivating Brahma Gyan like this. And Shastra says no. There's a famous verse, Bhagavatam 11.12.1. Na ruddhoti mam yoga, na sankham dharma evacha, na saddhayas tapostego, istapurtim na dakshira. Vartani jagnas chandangsi tirthani niyama jama katartaivar dote satsanga sarva sanga pohimam. I'm not controlled, Krishna says, I'm not controlled by those who perform yoga, study a lot of philosophy. By studying philosophy, you're not going to get Krishna. But to do bhakti, if you need to study, Prabhupada gave a very interesting, a simple logic. He said, if you study on your own, that is gyan. But if you think, oh, my guru wants me to read Bhagavad Gita, that is bhakti. Because you're not studying on your own, you're studying under his direction, guidance. So then it is bhakti. When senior devotee asks you to do something, that is bhakti. But if you do on your own, the same thing, you're going to temple on your own, you're doing everything. That is still mixed, not pure bhakti. It is mixed, gyan, this, that. Interesting. Because of the time, I'm going to say, and the next week we'll elaborate more. There's a famous verse, 3:25:25. And what are the result of those? Because next week we are going to touch the anarthas that we are mentioning that. So let's see. What is that verse? Satam prasangad mama birja sangvido bhavanti rita karna rasayana kata tadajosana dasu apavarga vartmani saddharati bhakti anukramishati. This is a very important verse, and this is 3:25:25 Prabhupada quote. And we also mentioned, if you ever wonder like what produced the result of my spiritual practice, Bhagavatam study, I want to taste, I want to have some impetus within that creates self-motivation, not depending on others to motivate. Can't I get that? Yes, you can, if you have three things. Srinnata Shraddhaya Nittam. Every day you have to practice sadhana, including studying Bhagavatam. One, Grinantasya, you have to accept what is said there. And third is, Srinnata Shraddhayanita Grinantasya Sachestam Kalena Navati Dirgana Bhagavan Vishateridi. Srinnata Shraddhayanittam Grinantasya. So you have to hear with faith. How do you get faith? Faith only you get by the association of those who has faith. You cannot get faith from a sky. By chanting, the faith will not come. Faith will come from those who has faith. How do you get rapt attention? Three things you need, Prabhupada says. Rapt attention, you have to do the sadhana, and with faith, and you have to do daily. So, rapt attention, Prabhupada gives, I'm summarizing in the purport of that verse, very sweet. That you have to have this lifestyle where you can minimize your unnecessary material involvement, where you do things that you need to be done to stay alive and maintain the family and whatever is required, and create a lifestyle where everything you eat is offered. Do not eat from outside without offering. Do not. It doesn't matter. Well, little chips. It's little chips. You're taking somebody's karma. You're going to get a headache. Did you like the headache? No. Then why are you doing this? You cannot even chant because you have a headache. But headache came because you ate without offering. So you have to be very careful on those. Then if your life is simple, then you can actually concentrate your mind. Ahara suddha satta suddha dhruva smiti smiti labde sarva grantina moksha labda. When you're eating and lifestyle became a simple Krishna based, then your existence will be simple. And it will connect with goodness. When you go to sleep, don't think of sex, don't think of like movie, think of like hearing Prabhupada's tape. I'm giving you practical, what I do. And it gives a very, when I get up, I fresh. I could not do this many years back. I could not do this. But I noticed last, 8-10 years is like a very smooth. You hear Sattik way you sleep, you have a wonderful sleep. You have a Rajasic way sleep, you have a nightmare, dream, you wake up in the middle of the night, go to bathroom, you feel thirsty, you're like so many things going on, mental. Why? Because you're Rajasic. These are practical. So I'll end. Oh, I have 9 minutes. I want to just finish. I'm not going to go too elaborate about, already your life, how you are arranging. I'm just giving you little tips that what can help, it helped me. I'm not an advanced devotee or anything. I'm just trying to serve, becoming a good servant of the. I really have interest, so I pray to all of you. Please bless me and pray for me. So these are the 10 symptoms if you have an association with sadhu, and I'll end with this. First symptom from that verse I got, 325:25 from Prabhupada's purport. You can break it, but I make a number always. First symptom, that when you have an association of genuine sadhu, you feel some more attraction to Krishna than before. That is the first symptom, which is very nice. Govinda Maharaj actually gave that hint. Which association should I go? Any association bring you closer to Guru Krishna, get that association. Whether it's bona fide or not bona fide, that is bona fide, in other words. Your friend may not be able to accept it. That is their problem. Second point, that you feel a faith that arises in your heart than before. That you really trust in Krishna. You trust that devotee. That is a very good symptom. Second. Third, from that association, you feel some eagerness to hear about Krishna. Krishna Rasayana Katha. That's the word given in that verse. That your ear, you like to hear. You like to hear. That is a good symptom. Means you have a good association. Whatever, whoever, wherever you are associating with. Fourth, that those who are not serious in spiritual life, you are not against them, but you are not interested to just hang around with them. You just want to be like aloof from them. You're not hating them, just you don't want to be part of their unnecessary wasting life. Fifth, from that association, that you feel like certain things you really didn't like it and it's difficult to give up, you eventually is like a losing the taste of it. Like, wow, I can give up, I feel like. That breaking, that attachment, it's a sign of a good association and having. Then 6, some of the pastime of Krishna, you really like feel like it's genuine. Before it was like a Bollywood movie. Now it's like this is like a real happening in spiritual world. I need to focus. You shifting your taste from the Bollywood way of looking the Krishna Lila instead of spiritual way of looking Krishna Lila. 7, those topics, not only you feeling closer, you feel actually tasty. You feel like there is some flavor in it. And it's so subtle, it's difficult to explain how it is. But you feel, and then it comes and it goes. Oh, why it's gone? I wish I could have that all time. That eagerness is a sign that you are advancing. Then from Joshana, that when the taste comes, then a little particular attachment which destroy your materials, some lingering, simultaneously happening in the heart. This is 9, is the first symptom of bhava arising. And then ultimately, you will even forget the importance of which service to do. You will be importance of for who you doing. Not what you're doing, for who you're doing is become the primary. Oh, Krishna, I love you. I will do for Prabhupada and Krishna. You have a tremendous attraction. That's the beginning of sign. Prabhupada also gave another 5 things. I mean, he didn't say 5 things, I just counted. But anyway, these 10 things. So we'll end with this. We have 4 minutes. That everybody remember, in the beginning I said, can somebody repeat? I'm going to repeat one more time in case if you forget. The Krishna is ever waiting, Krishna is ever willing, Krishna is ever working. You must remember this. Krishna is ever waiting means that Krishna personally resides in our heart of all of us. Why? To guide us for ultimate goal. He is inside. Why? To guide us. Not just like he's there to control me. No, he is there to help us. From this strategy, vantage point, he observes our misadventures in material existence. And instead, he's pushing us to strive to bring us an adventurous, auspicious ending. He wants our ultimate ending is the most glorious, most enthusiastic, joyful experience. That's why he's in our heart. So number 1 is he's ever waiting. How he's ever waiting? In a friendship, as I mentioned that example of stealing, and if you remember, that one friend neglects the other for a long time. It's natural, reasonable for the neglected friend to give up the neglecting friend. But Krishna's love for us far exceeds the bounds of our natural and reasonable. Although we have neglected him for so many lifetimes, he neglects also. What he neglects? He neglects our neglecting him. Isn't sweet? He neglects our neglecting him. He ignored that we ignored him. Such a loving person, and waits patiently for us to renew our friendship with him. So that's one. Second is Krishna is ever willing. For one friend, not only neglect, but also displeases. Like I give an example. If I steal, say his 10 years income, I'm his best friend. He gave me a room in his house. And I found out where he's hiding under the pillow all his money. This is not true story, I'm just giving it. So, and then I became his close friend. And one day I stole all his money for 10 years income, I disappeared. Now, how does he feel of my friendship with him? Then after a few years, I come back. Oh, I'm so sorry. Here, I'll pay you $10 a month. I stole 50,000 rupees. I'll pay $10 a month. Can we have a friendship back? Will you? I don't know. It's a discussion. Maybe, maybe not. And after 6 months, I'm paying $10 a month, which I stole 50,000. I don't know when it will be ever paid. And I say, can we have our friendship back now like normal? I paid you 6 months, $10 a month, even though I stole 50,000. What do you think? You will do it? Gopal says no. But Krishna is above you. Even we ignored him, we did all kinds of abuse. We don't believe God. We don't care. So feel like this. But Krishna is ever willing. Ever willing means that Krishna's friendship is so unfailing, unflinching, that despite our many sins and offenses through which we have repeatedly displeased him, he remains ever willing to resume our relationship with him. Isn't it so sweet? That's who Krishna is. I feel like to cry for him. And the third point, I'll end with this. Krishna is ever working. Krishna, being God, is perfect and complete. He has no work to do, has nothing to gain from any friendship, relationship with anyone. Yet, due to his selfless, tireless love for us, he voluntarily and constantly works to help us return to him and thereby realize fully our potential for happiness. So we should remember this. I'll end with this. Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any comment, reflection from anyone or question?
I see Pracheta Prabhu has raised his hand. Pracheta
Yes,
Prabhu.
Pracheta Prabhu, my old well-wisher friend. Dandavad Prabhu.
Dhanyavad to everybody, all the devotees, of course, your Lotus Feet. Thank you so wonderfully explained and encouraging me to introspective myself, whether I'm advancing or not, what is happening and where I'm at this moment and what is my goal is. All these things is so wonderfully explained. Definitely that was one of the focus of your class, I believe. So, and he mentioned that Prabhupada, and your view, Prabhupada mentioned in his purport that at least 30% of his purports, he explained about the impersonalism and voidism. And I 100% agree. I repeat that many times. I think even more or somewhere around that phase. So, and yeah, I had quite a few questions, but I guess the time is ending. So if you may allow some of the philosophical questions, such as what stage does the material intelligence and the false ego, as our subtle body is made of, is transformed into a spiritual spiritual ego and spiritual intelligence, especially I'm looking for. The other one, the second question is, you mentioned about within this body. It was earlier of this today's class. You mentioned about everything within our body is there, including the material self and material body. There's nothing to be looking for, or there's nothing which is not within us right now. That is, of course, a big question, and a lot of discussion has been done in the past, but you did mention. So, and then you related with the story of Mahabharata.
Can we, Pracheta Prabhu, can we let's finish one question first?
Sure.
And then we'll go to the next one. Is that okay?
Of course. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So what I understood from you, you're inquiring that when this merging or the material intelligence or material false ego, it comes dissolving point where the real false ego and spiritual intelligence appears. Yeah. Now, there's a metaphor Prabhupada gave, I remember. One example he gave, like you touching water with the gloves on. I don't know if you ever did that. I did today. I went to emergency hospital. You can see I still have the sticker of that. And there was some Mataji was leaving her body. So they immediately called me. So I immediately went there and chanted some mantra. It's very nice. Her name is Sundari Singh. Nice, pious family devotee. So anyway, so back to this question that Prabhupada said, so I had in the hospital, I had a gloves, they put all these for the COVID. It was not a COVID patient. It was just that she had a terminal cancer. And they found out the cancer actually took over the whole body. She's going to leave in any moment. So when I was wearing gloves, I thought about it. Okay, I'm touching things. Do I really feel the experience, even the materially through the gloves? How much can I feel? Now, some idea is there. When there's an ice cup, ice bottle, or cup of ice water, you feel some coldness with the gloves. But when you take off the gloves, then you feel the real sensitivity. Even there is a glass, but the best thing will be like probably you put the ice in your own hand, and the skin touch, you can really feel it. But yes, gloves is a preventive. In other words, to experience spiritual ecstasy, spiritual service, inspiration, satisfaction, these gloves actually preventing us. In other words, until we dissolve this material covering, the spiritual real experience is not taking place. So it is necessary, and I'm really happy that you are asking this, because it is necessary that we want to dissolve as fast as possible. Dissolve doesn't mean we leave this body. We live within the body, but we are not connecting with the karmi or gyani or yogi view. We are connecting as a devotee. What determines it is the attitude. For an example, if I see a beautiful Mataji and I think she is very attractive, she will be very good object for my senses to enjoy, that attitude I'm creating, my intelligence is material. My ego as an enjoyer, soul is never enjoyer, but I think I will enjoy her body, it's a material, false ego is there. Now I can just change it completely within me by the mercy of Prabhupada and you all Vaishnavas. I can think that actually the soul is in that beautiful body, belongs to Krishna. She is looking for Krishna, life after life. What can I do to serve her, to remind her about Krishna, or give her some Krishna Prasad that she will be connecting with Krishna? With that attitude, I'm creating a material intelligence purified to spiritual intelligence, right at that spot. And the ego that I had, I'm the enjoyer of her body, is changing now as a servant, original. That she belongs to Krishna, Krishna going to enjoy her. So ego, the false ego dissolves and real ego appear also. Now, it is good in the material experience, we think like, okay, but it doesn't stay too long. We have to keep on practicing. Radhanath Maharaj, my well-wisher, one day we were talking, and I asked Maharaj, I said, Maharaj, I really so attracted to your humility. I wish you would give it. I don't know, I touch your feet, you embrace me so many times, but Maharaj, I want to really get that. So he said, Pran, Govinda, Prabhu, if I tell you, you have to believe me. I said, yes. He said, I did not have this. I just pretended. Now, whether he's telling the truth, I mean, I have to accept it. That's how he said. He says, I was pretending for so long, it became normal now. I actually see it. When I see anybody or anything, I see the first thing is belongs to Krishna. Automatically, it happens. In America, they say practice make perfect. Of course, it has to be good practice. Bad practice thing also, bad things practicing also will produce bad. So if we practice, keep on practicing, even this morning I heard one lecture of Prabhupada, he said, so important, the real power of the devotee, the empowerment of book distribution, he was giving a short lecture, very nice. It's coming from your sadhana, daily practice. So therefore, you have to pay attention how you practice your day-to-day, daily sadhana. It was so nice. It was like a very enlivening. Because sadhana is one thing. I always request every devotee to bless me. I want to continue, and I encourage them to do that too. The more we practice, then our material intelligence and material ego will transform slowly, slowly. But because we are not fixed yet, it comes back. It comes back. There is a stage between Nishtha and Asukti. Madhurya Kadambini explains that from the Nishtha, which is, I'm not going to explain what it is because that it takes another 15, 20 minutes. But when you come to Nishtha and you focus attachment to Krishna, not Krishna, Krishna's service. I'm doing book distribution and you are like focusing all the quotes of Prabhupada, all the importance of book and how people like it and like whole service or deity worship or even cooking, whatever the service. But actually in Asukti stage, it shifts. You are desiring beloved, nothing else. For the beloved, you are doing all the service. You're not focusing on the service. You are focusing on the beloved's pleasure. So there is a very subtle difference between these two stages. Of course, in between there is a ruchi. But this transformation is required. So I'm not trying to brag about it, but you are already advancing, I see. Your question reflects. And hopefully you cross that border and you go there to Asukti stage, where you can actually be absorbed in Krishna.
So thank you, Prabhuji, wonderfully explained. Of course, we'll like to hear regularly from you to get more enlightenment and encourage. But shall I go ahead and ask the second question, or shall I stop now?
I don't know, Gopal Radhe, who is the host? Gopal Radhe Prabhu is the host. Do we have time?
Yes, Prabhuji, no problem.
Okay, he said no problem.
Thank you, Gopal Prabhu. Yeah, he did mention about we do have everything within our body at the present moment. We're carrying like a seed. He mentioned about the banyan tree, which is mentioned in Prabhupada's purport many times, and obviously. So that means we do have our spiritual body, spiritual quality, and our Swarup, which is going to be in a spiritual platform. Once we get to that platform, hopefully one day, prayer. So, but you related with the story of when Krishna, Barbarik was watching, saw the Sudarshan was killing everybody, so that not to narrate the whole story again. So, but the ultimate is there are three types he mentioned. The one who just first one I'm forgetting. The second one is the one who saw the Krishna's good quality, and they're the one who went to Vaikuntha, and the third one was the one who pray and fall in love with Krishna. He went to Golok Vrindavan. The other first one was what? First one was because they were killed by Sudarshan, so they went to Brahma Jyoti, so merged into the Jyoti. So there are three types. My question is, Lord Chaitanya came here to give us the love of Godhead, which was not given, that Anarpita Charim Chirat Karunavati Nakalo, so that mentioned in that verse. So if we are existing in other times of the creation of this material world, so that we would not get the love of Godhead, which is the ultimate, the Aradha Bhagavan Bhajeshwatanaya, those kind of mention. So we would be getting Vaikuntha or other places. Most probably, most people would go there. That's what mentioned. So how is it that even that time they also had that existed? I believe. Could you sometime or maybe today, if you have time, to explain that a little bit? I'm here. Thank you.
Well, I can only remember a little bit what Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in few places. By the way, the first you gave, you mentioned that we have in our seed form. This is in Bhagavad Gita chapter 15, text 7. In the purport, there is a one sloka. And Prabhupada gave a very interesting, because everything Prabhupada put it, almost those slokas are in the Baladev Vidyabhushan Thakur's book on Bhagavad Gita. In the purport, you see there is a verse in 15.7 Bhagavad Gita. Sabai esha brahmanistha idam shariram samauttaya parama atisrijya brahmavi sampadda brahmana pashyati brahmana srinati brahmana ivedam sarvam anubhavati. This is very nice, the way Prabhupada put it. And I was tracing where Baladev Vidyabhushan Thakur, what is his view, because Prabhupada offered the Bhagavad Gita to Baladev Vidyabhushan Thakur. You know, in the beginning of our Bhagavad Gita, you'll see Prabhupada offered this to Baladev. Baladev Vidyabhushan Thakur gives this, Sabayasa Brahmanishta idam sarya samauttaya, that the soul has a spiritual body, and the spiritual body is not that they're going to get it, but it's going to revive. In other sense, the soul from the father's body with the semen enters into the womb of mother in the material body, we see that. And when the atmosphere in the mother's body is provided, Then within a few days, thumb size is born. And then the soul grows until 81 days where the gender changes or gender is being visible. How the baby, I remember in third canto is explained. Similarly, we have the spiritual body, and spiritual body, when it gets the spiritual atmosphere, it's started just manifesting its nature. That's why in the 11 things that I mentioned, the first thing is relationship. We need to focus on our relationship every day when we are chanting, that I have a relationship with the Lord. He's my supreme master, I am his servant. This is the basic relationship. Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Harinam Chintamani established this point. Kono bhagye kono jibe shraddha jodi hoy tobe sei jib dasya rase gauranga bhajaye. Dasya poripakke jabe jiber hridaye srimadur rasude murtiman hoye. She somoye bhajaniya tattva gaurahari Radha Krishna rupe hoy braje avatari. That if somebody just served the holy name only as a servant and master, but relationship should be focused. It is not some alphabet, akshar, namakshar bairai bote, nam kobu noy, Jagadananda Pandit says, it's not nam. It has to be relation. How the relation is established? By the mercy of Guru, Sadhu. Their association, that relationship is established. Then with that relationship, when he's chanting, then automatically he will see that slowly it's sprouting. Why Prabhupada put in Bhagavatam 3.2.6 that you can be in the material world and serve in the spiritual world. Wow, how do you serve in the spiritual world? With the material body? No, spiritual body. So actually Prabhupada, when Prabhupada says something, the potential and essential are already built in. Just like Krishna says, surrender to me, I will protect you. The protection is already built in the surrender. It's not that after surrender we have to look for protection. Protection already there the moment surrender is. So when Prabhupada said you can serve spiritual from here, that means it is already there. We just have to act on it. We really have to have a strong faith on Prabhupada's word, and then it will act on it. As for the other part that you mentioned was very interestingly, I was just thinking how to make it concise and precise. Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives this example that you probably heard this. I mentioned that the whole material existence, it's like a lotus growing out of dirty water. But when the lotus flower manifests, it's never actually touching the water. So liberation condition means it's actually in the water, but not touching the water. Very interestingly. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes that as the time passes, the Brahmaji heard this Veda mantra, then the lotus stem produced a flower-shaped budding. And Vyasdev came, he started to open the budding. 4 Acharya came, they established Vaishnava. They started opening the petal. When Mahaprabhu came, the whole flower blossomed. So other ages, they missed that. Because unless the flower is blossom, the bees, like a living entity is like a bees, they cannot suck the honey from a stem or from the bud. So if I was in Satyajuga, I cannot get love of God, not possible. It was not there. It was there. You could say all the Acharya has the idea, but until Madhavendra Puripat came, nobody revealed this. And Mahaprabhu says anybody don't have a connection with Madhavendra Puri, including other Sampradaya, cannot get this love of God. They can be Vaishnava, they can be pure Vaishnava. There's a difference between bhakti and bhakti rasa. Mahaprabhu came to give bhakti rasa, not just bhakti. Just like a mother Yashoda cooking every day, she offered the bhoga to Narayan for her son Krishna, not thinking Krishna is the origin of Narayan. That is bhakti. But when Krishna is drinking milk from her breast, That is bhakti rasa, not only bhakti, it's above. She is more happy. She is more happy by breastfeeding, and Krishna is more happy by sucking her breast. That is bhakti rasa. It is not bhakti, it is beyond, above. That's why in our explanation, the material conception of prataksha, direct perception, knowledge acquired by direct perception through our senses, through our, there is some light, the eyes blink. Maybe that. So then, thank you. So then this is a one conception. The above that conception is paroksha, indirect. Above that is aporoksha. Aporoksha, where Buddhism and Sankara idea is dissolved, finished. Above that is adokshaja, fourth layer, where the fourth layer, the Ramanuja Acharya, all the Acharya gave this understanding of spirituality, where no more suffering. In Golok Vrindavan, we don't talk about suffering or not suffering. There is a transcendental suffering. It is not suffering of material world, but there is a suffering of spiritual ecstasy. It's like a lion made of a sandesh. Now we love sandesh, so when lion is making noise, but still it is a sandesh. It's tasty. So something like that. It just, I made it up just to understand how to understand these spiritual bodies are all such a tasty. So similarly like that, Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes that actually that when Mahaprabhu appeared, Jagai Madai was, Jagai Madai is a gatekeeper of Vaikuntha. Now Jagai Madai has come. Now did they enter into Golok Vrindavan? They entered into Setadip. They got this Krishna, this Radha Krishna's conjugal, because they were in Srivas Thakur house where the dead bolt was there. Prabhupada translated as a dead bolt outside Srivas Thakur's. Even though Mahaprabhu is distributing, but the pure love is not distributed actually in Navadip like that. It was a locked door. Kapat, it like written in Chaitanya Chaitamrita. Kapat diya. Kapat means a dead bolt, Prabhupada translated. Srivas Thakur, where Chapal Gopal and all these things, you know, the difference, personality, Mahaprabhu did not allow them. But Jagai Madai was there. Jagai Madai from Vaikuntha Ras, they came to Setadip Ras now, by the mercy. But then there are 6 types of people also written in Chaitanya Chaitamrita, which Mahaprabhu is chasing after, but some of them can be deprived. So my point is back to that. Prabhupada asked that question. When you go to the war, Prabhu, why would you dress like a wedding dress? Wedding dress means the day you are joyful, you are the most beautiful, attractive. Because it's a wedding day, the husband or groom in Indian Bengali culture, I saw that's the only day men dress like it's so beautiful. You know, he has a big earring, big crown, all kinds of things like really like the man of the day. And I won't say the rest of the sentence Prabhupada says. But at least king of the day, he said, king of the day, and then he said, ... rest you can find in Vedabis. And Prabhupada says now that what is the need for a Krishna to exhibit his beauty in the middle of the war? Why? What is the need? You don't go in a war, battlefield, to show your beauty. Krishna went there because he was so compassionate. It's a nice question Prabhupada raised. He says those who dissolve the subtle body, all 640 million, it is in first canto 9th chapter, Vishnudevat, in the purport Prabhupada. Actually in the sloka also, but then Prabhupada put it elaborate in the purport. So then question comes that those who saw him, just by seeing his spiritual form, they got Sajujya Mukti. But those who appreciated his beauty, appreciation has to come from individual us. We need to practice every day how to glorify the Vaishnavas, how to glorify Krishna. Every day we should do this because it is natural. Positivity is natural. Negativity is not natural. Negativity of this world is not natural to the soul. It is only apply here. But negativity will control. This is the problem. If we allow it to enter in our mind. But positivity doesn't enter. You have to invite. You really have to associate with the sincere devotee and create the discussion. Oh, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for the appreciate. Just like today, Mother Sukhoda says, oh, we are proud of you. You know, old Prabhupada's disciple, Pushkar Prabhu's wife, that I'm so glad that you went there to chant those family and everything. I said, I'm learning because you all are great. All the senior devotees are great here in Alachua. They allow me to. So I'm learning from you. So we appreciate, it's true. Do I genuinely feel? Yes, I do. Because of their mercy, if they see something within me, it's coming because of their mercy. It's reflecting from them. If we can appreciate our devotee even within family, sometimes we don't see even the children, they could be so advanced. Previous life, they're probably more advanced than myself. We don't know. Sometimes we think, what they know, I'm 40 years in the movement, I know better. This is not a good calculation. So like this, if we can really see the quality, some of the second generation young boys and girls, some could be so advanced. Prabhupada said the pure devotee will come on third generation. So they are amongst us. So we have to respect all the devotees. Then we eventually will see that opening of that Krishna Prem, easy access. Easy access. Otherwise, those 6 types of people will be deprived. Those who don't appreciate devotees, Krishna consciousness, they will be deprived. Hopefully, by the mercy of the Vaishnava, they will come back. Otherwise, there will be some people who will be deprived. And there's many examples. So I hope this gives you some idea.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your inside explanation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Purushottama Prabhu. Any other reflection, Gopal Radhe Prabhu? Oh, Nishinga is there. Your brother.
Prabhuji, you spoke very, very wonderfully, and it was very nice hearing you speak, and especially about how we understand subtle body and gross body, and how we have our own spiritual body, and how even within this body we can be liberated by following the 8 symptoms.
Yes.
And the 11 symptoms that you have given past that. And a really, really wonderful point that struck me was the point that when the positive and the negative comes together and it becomes whole, then the product is dynamic. It is not. I would also think sometimes that, I'm chanting now, I'm doing all this. Maybe one time I'll have to go and I can rest. I don't have to do any more, chanting, all these things. But then I see that no, if our Vaishnava philosophy is actually preaching that no, even after that there is service, but then there is going to be bliss in that service, and love and affection in that service. And that gives me the idea that why Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, and other acharyas like Vrittasur also praise, I think. Yes, Vrittasur also praise that may I take birth again and again. And even if I have to take birth again and again, may it be in association of your devotees.
Yes.
And, even Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that because in the association of devotees is true Golok Vrindavan. And so we don't actually have to go there. We are right now there. Because if we see by associating with devotees and all, and by having that 8 symptoms in our body, then we are already liberated. Even in this body, we will be in Golok Vrindavan.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
enlightening and brightening that point. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll end here, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Thank you.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpa tarubhasya kripa sindhubhaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo anantaguri vaishnavrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. So thank you so much everybody for attending. Tomorrow we'll be listening from Radha Charan Prabhu. It'll be from 5 to 7 p.m. In the evening. So you all can come. The same meeting ID. We will be hearing about Shikshashtakam from His Grace Radha Charan Das. Thank you. Hare Krishna.